Yo, you just dropped $300 on Bose, $1,000 on Sonos, or 2 racks on Bowers and Wilkins because some glossy magazine called it the gold standard. Meanwhile, the audio engineer in the same room is laughing. His whole setup cost a fraction of yours, and it sounds way better. That's not hype. That's the dirty little secret the hi-fi industry doesn't want you to know. What's up, everybody? It's your boy MC Ray Cole from Audio Legend, and today I'm exposing 7 cheap hi-fi brands that audiophiles and real engineers secretly love, while the mainstream press pretends they don't exist. If you've been burned by overpriced gear before, you need to watch this till the end. The 7th brand on this list is quietly powering more killer home setups under $1,000 than any big name you've heard of. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now. You don't want to miss this. Let's start with a true American success story that sticks it to the big corporations. Sheet Audio was founded in 2010 Inches, a small garage in Newhall, California, by 2 veterans who actually know what they're doing, Jason Stoddard and Mike Moffett. These aren't some kids who watched a couple YouTube reviews and decided to start a company. Mike was one of the key engineers behind Theta Digital. Back in the 90s, they were building $15,000 digital processors, when most people still thought CD players were high-end. Jason came from Sumo and Forte Audio. Together, they've got over 80 years of real hi-fi engineering experience between them. That experience shows in everything they build. Their entry-level stack, the Magni headphone amp and Modi DAC, cost right around $200, $250 brand new, shipped straight from their California warehouse. For that price, you're getting gear that mastering engineers and serious hobbyists have been recommending on forums like HeadFi and Superbest Audio Friends since 2013. These aren't just budget toys. They're reference level tools that people use in actual studios. What makes Sheet special is their attitude. They manufacture most of their boards right here in Texas and California. No outsourcing to the lowest bidder. They've never paid for a single magazine review in their entire history, and they never will. The audio press mostly pretends they don't exist because Sheet refuses to play the game. They don't advertise in glossy magazines, they don't send free gear to influencers, and they don't chase dealer networks. They just make great sounding products and sell them direct. The name itself, yeah, it's pronounced shit. They chose it on purpose to keep big box retailers from ever carrying their stuff. That one decision tells you everything about their rebel spirit. They want real enthusiasts, not casual shoppers looking for status symbols. I've heard from so many people who swap their expensive setups for Sheet and never look back. One guy in HeadFi said he sold his $1,200 DAC after hearing the Modi. He couldn't justify the difference anymore. Another mastering engineer uses the Magni Modi combo as his daily reference because it's clean, transparent, and doesn't color the sound. It just gets out of the way and lets the music breathe. If you're just starting out or tired of the hype, this stack is the perfect gateway. It scales beautifully too. You can move up their lineup without wasting money. Sheet proves you don't need to pay marketing tax to get serious performance. They focus purely on engineering, and it shows in every product they release. No nonsense, no fluff, just audio done right. Topping. Now let's talk about the brand that made measurements cool. Again, Topping. Based in Shenzhen, the same city that builds a huge chunk of the world's electronics. Topping started shaking things up around 2017. What they did was simple but revolutionary. They brought lab-grade measurement standards to gear normal people can actually afford. Take their E50 DAC. It sits around $250. Pair it with the L50 headphone amp for another $200, and you've got a complete $450. Stack that on the test bench. Embarrasses equipment costing 5 or even 10 times more. We're talking insane signal-to-noise ratio, ridiculously low, total harmonic distortion, perfect channel separation, and jitter numbers that make flagship DACs from big brands look amateur. This is an opinion, it's cold, hard data. Audio Science Review, run by former Microsoft engineer Amir Majidari, has become one of the most trusted voices in audio exactly because of these measurement charts. Topping products consistently sit at the very top. Brands that rely on 50 years of marketing mystique, they sit at the bottom and they hate it. The audio establishment despises Topping because it kills the "you get what you pay for" myth. Suddenly people realize a $450 stack can outperform gear that costs as much as a used car. That threatens the entire old school hi-fi industry. You won't find Topping in Best Buy or on the recommended components list in fancy magazines. You will find them on Amazon, AliExpress, and a handful of dedicated hi-fi sites. That's the trade-off, but most users say it's worth it. The gear is reliable, the measurements don't lie, and the performance is insane for the money. People in the know, audio engineers, studio owners, and forum veterans have been building entire systems around topping for years. One ASR member documented his reference setup that beat a $50,000 system in blind testing. Another guy replaced his entire high-end chain with a topping stack and said the difference was night and day, but in favor of the cheaper gear. Topping doesn't waste money on pretty boxes or celebrity endorsements. They put every dollar into the actual audio circuitry. The result is neutral, detailed, dead quiet sound that lets your music shine without adding its own flavor. If you love accuracy and hate paying for hype, topping is one of the smartest choices you can make in 2026. Wharfedale. This one is genuinely strange because Wharfedale isn't some new startup. It's a British heritage brand older than most of the premium names, you know? Founded in 1,932 inches, the Wharfedale Valley of Yorkshire, by engineer Gilbert Briggs. They've been making speakers continuously for over 90 years. Their Diamond series, especially the Diamond 12.1 and 12.2 bookshelf speakers, go for just $300 to $500 a pair. That gets you woven Kevlar cone woofers, soft dome tweeters, and properly damped cabinets that sound dead when you knock on them exactly what you want for clean, undistorted sound. Back in the 1980s, Wharfedale was a household name in Britain. They were the go-to entry-level standard before you stepped up to more expensive brands. But in the late 90s, high-margin companies started dominating. Retailers dropped Wharfedale because the markup was too low. Magazines stopped covering them because they weren't buying ads. So the brand quietly disappeared from mainstream conversation. But it never disappeared from the places that actually matter, the hi-fi forums. Go on any audiophile community right now, ask, speaker recommendations, under $500 a pair, and Wharfedale Diamond comes up in the first 5 replies every single time. People who've owned them for decades still swear by them. The current parent company, IAG, also owns Quad and Mission, 2 other legendary British brands that get the same unfair treatment from the press. It's a clear pattern. Great engineering gets ignored when it refuses to play the markup game. These speakers punch way above their price. The build quality is solid. The sound is balanced and musical. And they disappear in a good way. You forget you're listening to speakers and just enjoy the music. Forum users love pairing them with the cheap Class D amps we've already talked about. The combination creates systems that compete with setups costing thousands more. You can still buy them new through specialty retailers like Crutchfield and Audio Advisor in the US, or direct from authorized dealers in the UK. They may not have the flashiest marketing, but real listeners know the truth. Wharfedale proves that great audio heritage doesn't need constant hype to stay relevant. Sometimes the old dogs still have the best tricks, especially when they refuse to chase ridiculous profit margins. SMSL. Number 4 takes us back to China with a brand that's been quietly dominating the digital side of things for over a decade, SMSL. The name stands for something most people can't pronounce, but that doesn't matter. What matters is what they deliver. Serious digital to analog converters and amplifiers that go head to head with American and European gear, costing 3 to 5 times more. Their flagship SU9 DAC retails for around $450. Inside, it uses the ESS Sabre 9038 Pro chip, the same high-end chip you'll find in much more expensive DACs from Topping, Benchmark, and other big names. The matching A300 amplifier is a clean Class D design, pumping out roughly 160 watts per channel into 8 ohms. For comparison, a similar Hagel or NAD integrated amp will easily run you $1,500 to $3,000. SMSL gives you comparable or, in many cases, better performance for a fraction of the price. Once again, the proof is in the measurements. On Audio Science Review, members have built entire reference systems around SMSL gear that absolutely crush setups, costing $50,000 on the test bench. The transparency, detail, retrieval, and power are ridiculous for the money. These aren't bright, harsh, chi-fi products that fatigue you after an hour. They're refined, neutral, and musical. Like the other brands on this list, SMSL stays under the radar for the same reasons. They don't advertise in magazines, they don't send expensive review samples to influencers, they don't pay for dealer shelf space. You'll find their products mainly on Amazon, AliExpress, and a few specialty hi-fi retailers. That keeps prices low, but it also means the mainstream audio press continues to ignore them. There is one real catch worth mentioning, honestly. service and support. If something does break, you're shipping it back to China. However, the vast majority of users report that SMSL gear is extremely reliable and simply doesn't fail. Many people have been running these units 24/7 for years without issues. The build quality is solid, the finishes are nice, and the user interfaces are straightforward. I've seen countless forum posts where people replaced their entire mid-tier system with an SMSL stack and said the improvement was shocking. One guy went from a $2,000 DAC amp combo to the SU9 plus A300 and actually preferred the cheaper setup because it was quieter and more resolving. Another studio owner uses multiple SMSL units as backup references because they measure so cleanly. SMSL proves that modern Class D amplification and top-tier DAC chips have reached a point where you no longer need to spend thousands to get excellent sound. They focus their budget on the important parts, the actual audio circuitry, instead of fancy marketing stories. If you want high-resolution digital playback that competes with the big boys without emptying your wallet, SMSL deserves a serious look. It's one of the smartest ways to build a high-performance system in 2026. And now for something completely different, the brand that gives you that magical tube sound without the insane price tag. AIMA, correct spelling, is a Chinese manufacturer that specializes in affordable tube hybrid amplifiers. Their most popular models like the A7, A8, and various T-Series units start as low as $60 and top out around $150. These aren't full pure tube amps that run hot and fragile, they're smart hybrids. Here's how it works. A small tube in the preamp stage, usually a Russian or Chinese 6N3 or similar, adds that warm, slightly colored euphonic sound that tube lovers chase. The power stage is efficient, solid-state Class D, so you get real-world power without the heat and maintenance issues of old-school tube gear. For a normal desktop setup or bookshelf speakers in an average-sized room, these little amps punch way above their weight. Many listeners say they sound surprisingly close to vintage Macintosh or Marantz gear that sells used for thousands of dollars. The mid-range is lush, the vocals are intimate, and there's a smoothness to the treble that makes long listening sessions enjoyable. The fun part and the secret sauce that nobody in the basic YouTube reviews always tells you is tube rolling. The stock tubes are decent, but the quality can vary between units. A lot of smart owners replace the stock tube with new old stock, NOS. Soviet-era tubes from eBay for an extra $30.50. That small upgrade often transforms the amp dramatically lower noise floor, better clarity, and even richer tone. For around $200 total investment, you can have a desktop amplifier that genuinely embarrasses gear costing 10 to 20 times more. Of course, it's not perfect. These amps aren't going to drive super demanding planar magnetic speakers like Magnapans. They shine brightest with efficient bookshelf speakers in normal rooms. But for the vast majority of people, that's exactly what they need. AIMA has become a true forum hidden gem. On places like Budget Audiophile and HeadFi, you'll find long threads of people sharing their tube-rolled setups and raving about the sound. It's the kind of product that makes you smile every time you turn it on that classic warm tube vibe without the vintage repair bills. AIMA shows that great sound doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. They took the best parts of tube romance and combined it with modern, efficient power. The result is pure listening joy at a price that almost feels unfair. If you want some soul and warmth in your system without breaking the bank, this is one brand you need to try. It might just become your new favorite secret weapon. Fosi Audio. Number 6 is a brand that's been exploding in popularity lately, Fosi Audio. Another chi-fi powerhouse that's absolutely crushing it in the budget amplifier game. While some companies focus on DACs or full systems, Fosi has zeroed in on making incredible Class D power amps that deliver massive performance for almost no money. Their standout models like the V3 and ZA3 have taken the budget audiophile world by storm. These are neutral, clean, and seriously powerful little amplifiers with incredibly low noise floors. They handle efficient speakers beautifully and pair amazingly well with the speakers we've already talked about. Think Wharfdale Diamonds or ELAC debuts. The combination creates systems that sound far more expensive than they actually are. You can get into a Fosi amp for well under $100 to around $200 depending on the model. On Reddit's Budget Audiophile community and Audio Science Review, people constantly call them some of the best bang for buck gear available right now. The build quality is surprisingly excellent for the price, solid chassis, clean layouts, and they run cool even when pushed hard. No overheating issues like some cheap Class D designs from a few years ago. What really stands out in listening tests is how detailed and fatigue-free they sound. They don't add harshness or digital glare. Instead, they stay smooth and revealing, letting you hear deep into recordings without getting tired after a couple of hours. Recent models like the BT20A Pro and ZA3 have received absolute rave reviews in listening sessions. People are blown away by how much control, dynamics, and clarity these tiny boxes deliver. One of the coolest things about Fosi is how receptive the company is to customer feedback. They've improved designs over time based on real user input, which is rare in this price range. Forum members love sharing their Fosi setups. Many say they replaced amplifiers costing 3 or 4 times more and actually preferred the Fosi for everyday listening. You can buy them confidently from official Amazon storefronts or direct from the manufacturer, so warranty support is straightforward. No worrying about shady third-party sellers. Fosi Audio represents the new wave of smart, no-nonsense audio manufacturing. They don't waste money on fancy marketing campaigns or celebrity endorsements. Every dollar goes into making the actual circuitry and components better. The result is gear that brings real high-end sound into normal people's homes without the usual premium tax. If you're building a desktop system, powering some bookshelf speakers, or just want a clean, modern amplifier that gets the job done without drama, Fosi should be high on your list. It's one of those brands that makes you wonder why anyone still pays top dollar for basic amplification. The performance to price ratio is just stupidly good in 2026. Finally, we come to number 7, a brand that serves as the perfect versatile all-rounder to close out the list, FiiO. Most people first discover FiiO through their excellent portable players and headphone gear, but they've become absolute desktop killers as well. Their desktop lineup, especially the K11, K7, and K9 series DAC amp combos, sits in the very sweet $100 to $400 range. What makes FiiO special is the variety of sound signatures they offer. You can go with their more analytical Delta Sigma designs or step into their R2R models if you want a warmer, more analog-like presentation. This gives you real choice instead of the same neutral sound everyone else copies. These units pack serious power, tons of modern features like Bluetooth, balanced outputs, and great connectivity. The build quality is excellent, solid metal chassis, intuitive controls, and thoughtful design touches that make daily use a pleasure. Audiophiles consistently praise how well they perform against gear from much higher price brackets. FiiO shines, especially for people transitioning between headphones and speakers. A single unit can drive demanding headphones during the day and power a nice pair of bookshelf speakers in the evening. It's the kind of flexible Swiss Army knife that simplifies your setup without sacrificing performance. Even though FiiO gear is widely available on Amazon and specialist sites, it still feels underhyped in traditional mainstream audio press. That works in your favor. It keeps the prices reasonable while the quality keeps climbing with each new generation. Forum users love FiiO for reliability and real-world usability. One common story is someone buying a K-series unit as a temporary solution who ends up keeping it as their main system for years because it just works so well. The sound is engaging, the features are practical, and the value is undeniable. FiiO started in portable audio but has successfully moved into desktop territory without losing what made them great: smart engineering, attention to detail, and delivering way more than you pay for. They prove you can have high performance, modern convenience, and excellent sound without joining the expensive club. If you want one device that can grow with you from headphones to full speaker setups, from analytical to warm sound signatures, FiiO is an outstanding choice. It's the perfect capstone to this list of brands that the big magazines ignore but real listeners quietly love. So there you have it, the 7 cheap hi-fi brands that everyone ignores but real audiophiles and audio engineers secretly love. Sheet, Topping, Wharfdale, SMSL, IEMA, Fosi Audio, and FiiO. 7 companies that decided to skip the marketing tax, focus on real performance, and deliver insane value instead of hype. These are the brands that prove the relationship between price and sound quality has completely broken down in the middle range, exactly where most of us actually shop. The next time you're about to click buy on that big name product you saw in a magazine ad, do yourself a favor. Spend 15 minutes on HeadFi, Audio Science Review, or Budget Audiophile. Look at what people who actually own and use the gear every day are recommending. That one simple habit might save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars. If this video opened your eyes even a little bit, do me a favor, smash that like button, drop a comment, and tell me which of these brands you're most excited to try, and share this video with someone who's tired of overpaying for audio gear. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. We're dropping more truth bombs about real hi-fi every week here on Audio Legend. Thanks for watching. I'm your boy, MC Raycole. Now go burn the marketing tax and enjoy your music. I'll see you in the next one.